What's good, Savages? Welcome to another episode of La Savage Show. I'm your host, Savage Paulson. On today's episode, I'm joined by my good friend Patrick Chevrefils. Patrick is a retired independent wrestler, a Montreal police officer, and is recently was an emergency goaltender for the Florida Panthers during a Montreal Canadian game. We'll probably get to talk about that. Great guy. Always have awesome conversation with him. So let's get to it. Please enjoy this conversation with Patrick Chevrefils. Yo,
Yo, what's up?
what's going on?
It's been such a long time, bro.
Look at you. I barely recognize you. Look at
Yeah,
you,
man, I,
motherfucker.
I slimmed down so much since I stopped wrestling. It's insane.
What? Seriously though, when's the last time we saw each other?
Um, Last time we saw each other must have been pre-COVID,
Yeah, it has to be pre-COVID, right? We didn't see
and
each other after since.
I guess it's either at the last show we did at Torture Chamber or it's like the Christmas party before COVID.
No, it must have been probably the January show we did, the last one, the
Yeah,
one where
exactly. So it's insane.
man, how you been?
I've been amazing, man. It's been
Yeah,
it's like I'm so busy all over the place, but I'm so happy in the place I am right now. Like especially like first off, like coming off of the COVID time, I decided to like just change a little bit and just get back into my hockey shape because I was going back to hockey, so I started dropping the weight
yeah,
at
yeah,
that
yeah.
point and ended up getting my goal weight. And yeah, so now I'm running at 205, so I can apply for 205 live now if I go back to wrestling.
What the fuck? You're like a cruiserweight.
Yeah, I'm a tiny guy now. Well, I still kept some size, obviously, but it's just I have such a tiny waist. Like I still fit in 32 size pants.
What was the weight you were at when you were wrestling?
When I was wrestling, I was literally billing me at my real weight, which was 241 or 242. So I always hovered in that
Wow.
240, 230 ish. I know at some point I did go down to like 220s, and I still bill myself at 240. But for the main part, I was always hovering at 240s.
Wow, 240 to 205.
Yeah,
That's crazy. And like quickly, like I don't want to, go into too many details, but what's the big difference? Obviously, it's your nutrition, I'm
obviously.
assuming.
Oh yeah, totally. It's like nutrition and also a little more emphasis on my cardio. So basically, it's like I just do no excuses after every workout I do. 20 minutes of high intensity interval training on the stairs, and from there, it's just adjustment on my food. So
Yeah.
basically, I stopped trying to. I went down from like 6 meals to now I eat 5 meals a day,
Mm-hmm.
and adjusted some protein source, which I work with a coach. So the coach I took was Chris Tuttle. So if anybody wants to look him up, go right ahead, because he was just amazing. He was amazing with me, but
Yeah.
it's just like any coach. You have to connect with him, and with
Yeah, of
him, I had
course.
such a great connection because he's sorry to say it, he knows it, but he's an asshole. So
Yeah.
he's not
Ah,
gonna
then you fit in great with you then.
exactly because he's not gonna pat you on the back and say you did good or anything. So he just goes like, there you go, there you go, and then as soon as we develop like a relationship with him and he starts knowing how you are and everything and he knows how on point you are, he starts giving you some compliments afterwards. So I did get some. Like the only time I think I got like in trouble with him is because he thought my scale was wrong. Because like I sent him my weight and everything, and it's like I don't believe that weight. I'm like, oh shit, am I in
Ah.
trouble or anything? Like, is he gonna give me shit? And then it's like, no, no, it's you for sure lower than you are. So don't worry about the weight. I don't want you to scale anymore. So I'm like, oh, okay.
And this is where you feel how do you feel better at this weight?
Holy crap, you do not know. Like I thought I was happy back then, but
Mm-hmm.
knowing how I feel now, like I sleep like a baby. I stopped snoring, which I started
Yeah.
snoring depending on the position. It was like insane. I would start snoring and everything, which you don't realize it. But when you're snoring, it's not great sleep. It's really just like you're going in and out of like your deep sleep or anything. And now it's just
Yeah.
straight up sleep, everything. I feel lighter. I don't feel as heavy on my knees and everything. It's just an overall upgrade of like downsizing a little bit. I mean, we're always, especially for wrestling, we're always chasing size, but we
I
should
know,
so
right?
focus on being the best we are at a certain weight and then maybe build from there if you want to go up, but honestly, if anybody's listening to this, you don't need to go to 230 or 240 or even 260 as I tried to do to try to bulk up
Yeah.
to the maximum you can because you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. There's a part of me right now that's curious to see what I would do in the ring at this weight with this cardio and everything.
Oh my God, you'd probably be. I'm. Well, you're already good. I'm just saying, you would probably feel a lot better in the ring. I'm gonna tell you when I also drastically changed weight. Like I wasn't your heavy as you, but I was hovering around like 205, 208, right? When I was like wrestling. Uh, Towards more like in the early on in my career, I was a lot heavier. I was like close to 218, 215, 218. Then I slimmed down to like between 205.
Yeah, I remember the
And
picture.
then,
I remember the picture. I was like, oh, it's insane how he changed.
right? But
Yeah.
now I'm like, I'm no joke. I haven't weighed myself in a bit, but I'm hovering around probably 185.
Wow.
And I went down during COVID when I started running like a lot. When I was training for all the marathons and all that, I was down a certain point to like 174. And at 174, I didn't feel right. I was like, I'm too light. There's something. I was lacking energy. There was just something. And then I adjusted my nutrition. The problem with me is that I can't eat enough. Like, not only do I burn a lot of calories when I was training for my marathon and shit, is that my job, I spend all my day on my feet. I walk all day. Just at my job, I probably burn close to 2,500 calories in my 8-hour work,
Wow.
right? So it's like a workout. It's all that thing. So when I adjusted everything and then I started hovering around between like 182 and 185, then that is my optimized weight. I feel so great at this weight, and even back in the ring now, like it's completely different. Like I feel like the way I move, like you, like there's the way I feel, the way I sleep, the all around. I love how I look. Like it's just like you get used to it. Like
Oh yeah.
you when I was 205, I'd look at myself and like, man, I look good, and then I slim down to 190, 185 and be like, man, I really look good. Like what the fuck? Like yeah, you get more definition. All around though, it's like the tweak on my nutrition. I removed all gluten from my diet about a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
And not by choice. I was having some digestive issues, which I thought were caused by gluten, so I completely removed it from my diet. And oh man, that it made the biggest difference was my digestive. Like
Oh yeah.
it fixed my digestive issues. Like it took about 30 to 45 days to like settle in. But ever since I removed gluten, man, I used to have some pretty bad digestive issues. Like it was pretty bad. And I thought it was just normal. You get to a point where you're like, it's just how I am. Like probably there's a problem, but I don't know what it is, you know? And I couldn't even tell you. It'd be disgusting to tell you how many times I go to the fucking bathroom in a day. It was bad. It was really bad. Like I tell people like it was 7, 8, and even more times per day I would go to the bathroom.
Oh God.
Yeah. And I was like, I just burning it, like,
But
and then,
I've been there too. Like, especially when I was like eating. Well, me, I was eating so much to try to maintain the weight, and then I was going to the bathroom, and then sorry if some people don't want. If you're
oh,
eating,
no,
just a
please.
fair warning. If you're eating, block your ears. But yeah, like even the poo consistency was completely off, and you're like, I didn't. Did I eat something that's past due or anything? It's just going through, and like my coach told me, it's like that starts in the colon. So you got to take care of your belly and your digestive system. And one
Yeah.
thing that really made a big change for me is that we all grew up and we're like, oh yeah, chicken, broccoli, and rice, chicken, broccoli, and rice. Well,
Yeah.
turns out broccoli is super gassy for me, and that was one of the main issue with my digestion. When I eat broccoli, it happens. I mean, it sounds special. I still buy it.
Yeah.
I just don't do all 6 meal, which is broccoli, 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 because then it just like bloats you. Well, bloats me. But
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah.
different. It's not because I say that to me broccoli blows me that it doesn't mean that someone else can't eat broccoli and have absolutely no issues.
Of
And
course.
the one thing that I realized with like my journey of changing weight and switching weight and everything is like there's not one set ways of doing it. You got to do it for yourself the way that it works for you, and that you're going to be able to maintain that type of life for a long time.
Yes. That's the important thing, is to be able to find, like, I do everything, maybe you're the same way. I do everything to trial and error. Like, I'll read a lot. I listen to podcasts. I listen to guys like you. I ask questions to people that are, that do kind of do similar things than I do. And then I add, and then I try, and then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But just like you, like, yeah, you started, so I'll just keep going. My shits were completely, it was worrisome. Like, I would tell my girlfriend, and she'd be like, it's not normal, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm like, I was so, especially when I was running like a lot, not this past summer because I didn't get to train as much as I wanted to, but the summer before, when I was getting ready for an ultra marathon, holy shit, like, I couldn't get food in me fast enough, and my body would just absorb everything. It didn't matter what I ate. And one of the things that I noticed is that I used to eat a lot of vegetables. And I used to feel, which I thought I felt great by eating vegetables. I removed a lot of vegetables. I still eat vegetables. I replaced it with more protein. I upped my protein game now, and I'm way leaner. But the moment I removed these big giant salads that I used to eat like 3-4 times a week, or even add it to meals, like, oh, let me just put fucking, because I thought, I need greens, Not only did my energy didn't dip, or I didn't feel, or I didn't get sick, but that is also another thing that really helped me, like, not have diarrhea 8 times a day. Like, it's basically what it was. It's like I poop once a day now, and it's beautiful. Like, I hate to say that shit, but it's fucking like, and I don't feel, my stomach doesn't bug me all the time. It's not always like, oh, I'm going for a run and I feel like I'm going to shit my pants.
Yeah.
Like, all through my 10K run, is just like every step is like, I don't ever feel like that. Before I'd get ready for a workout, I'd be bloated. I'd be like, what the fuck, man? Like, I ate way too much fiber. And it was just like, I adjusted, trial and error. I did it for way too long. Now, I don't know if it did any long-term damage. Let's hope that the way I eat a lot better now may hopefully, like, fix that. But yeah, I feel you, man. It's diet is everything when you're an athlete,
and especially when you're, like, when you go to the bathroom and you just have to, like, sorry if it's too much, but
no,
you
please
just
go.
Once or twice, like, I'm done. I don't need to. Like, you're out, and it's like just almost, or there's almost one like I can almost not wipe and I'm good. And before it was like
nice,
a marker
though.
in there. It's like you keep wiping and you keep wiping and you keep wiping. Like, yeah, what is it? Like,
it's like you have a fucking, like, a Sharpie stuck in your ass, like, it's just like wipe. But it's funny because the doctor, we talked to my daughter's doctor, and she had some digestive issues, and that's one of the questions he asks is, like, when she poops, is it like solid, and is it like one piece? And my wife said, yeah. And he's like, well, then that's okay. And I was like, whew. I'm like, don't ask me if it's fucking solid or in one piece, because it's the opposite of that. And so when I started having normal bowel movements, I was like, not only is it a relief for me, like, I have this obsession about my digestive, like I can't feel bloated. Like, if I feel, there's nothing that pisses me off more, that puts me in a worse mood than when I'm fucking constipated. Oh my God. I hate it, because I feel like I'm like a fucking machine, right? You probably feel the same way. It's like, I understand how my body works. I understand that I burn a lot of calories, and I need to intake not only good food, but, the proper amount. I can't obviously overeating for me is not an issue. Like I said, it's extremely hard for me to overeat, but it's a game changer. It was a game changer when I realized what the issue was. And ever since then, now I will say this, I have tested gluten in the past few weeks, because I'm like, let me just test. And it didn't make me sick. so I know I probably don't have a gluten intolerance like I thought I did, but at the end of the day, it makes everything so much better that I'm like, I'm not adding this back to my diet. I've adjusted my diet accordingly without any gluten, and it is what it is. It's not like it's not like I ate a shitload of gluten. That's another thing I realized. When I started cutting out gluten, I'm like, oh, like bread. Okay, I don't eat bread anymore. Pasta. Okay, I don't eat pasta. But at the end of the day, I didn't eat that much of that shit.
Nope.
The chips, the cookies, all that stuff that I ate. It's like, all right, then I don't eat that shit anymore. And if I do once in a while, I'll buy the gluten-free shit. So it's like. And it made a huge fucking difference. So
and
I'm
glad.
glad.
But I did the same, like, because it's not a regular thing. I'm not gonna eat like pasta every week or every day or anything. But if I'm gonna have because during my diet I was doing high days of carbs, and one thing that really helped is like if you can cook some pasta, you're golden. So you get 90 grams of carbs in there. So I was taking gluten-free pasta at that point because I really wanted to be on point and everything. So according. But since I'm not followed by my coach anymore, I have done some days where I just I'll just take regular pasta. It doesn't affect me as much as it used to, but I still do feel a difference whenever I have the rice pasta or anything. I'm like, there's something there. There's something there with a little bit of gluten.
Yeah, for sure. Like your body process. I feel like it's a cleaner process. Like your engine burns fuel more efficiently when you don't have all that shit in your body, right?
Oh, yeah,
it doesn't
sure.
get stuck everywhere, and it's just like, woo. Like I'm able to eat a big meal now sometimes, like especially when I'm really like, sometimes I'm just be like chicken breast, like instead of I have a little bit of rice, and instead of having a lot of rice, I'll remove half the rice and then I'll just add one more chicken breast. So I'll add the protein up, and I'll a little piece of broccoli once in a while, or green beans, or whatever the case may be. But a lot of the times it's like, and I'm boring. Like I eat 90% of my diet is like for fuel. I don't eat. It's really bland. I just want fuel. Just give me fuel, protein, a little bit of carbs, just enough so that when I get home from work, I'm able to work out, go for a run, and then after that do all my stuff and feel great.
Oh,
so
yeah.
any other, like I also started noticing like inflammation, like joint pains, neck pain,
Gone.
shoulder pain, like neck pain, shoulder pain is a big issue with me, but it did go down a lot when I removed the gluten from my diet.
Yeah, that too.
Right?
I noticed it, and also like I added into like curcumin supplement.
Yeah.
So that helps me so much, especially now that I went back to hockey, and as a goalie, like it works so hard on your hips and knees. Like people don't realize, but a man's knee is not supposed to bend this way. So
yeah.
in a sense, it's so hard on your knees, but then I kind of get away with it somehow. I'm like, I used to be, before I went when I went to wrestling, my knees were killing me. And then I did the wrestling, which is technically supposed to ruin me even more. And then I came out and I feel so much younger, and it's insane.
Really, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So tell me the journey. So COVID hits, you're still a wrestler, and then what happened there? Because it's a bit flu for me. I think there was an injury at some point. I'm not sure. I didn't hear it from your mouth, so everything I hear is just like, well, I guess I just have to ask him one day. So
right.
Now you're here. I'm gonna ask you.
Yeah.
What? Because I did a little intro before I let you in. I introduced you as a retired independent wrestler,
so weird,
and also,
so weird to say retired at my age.
It sucks, but you know what? Look, fuck. Everybody was asking me if I was retired. Like, when are you coming back? You're retired? Oh, you coming out of retirement? I was like, I never said I was retired. I just needed more time to assess my fucking life before I decided to put my body through this fucking business of professional wrestling. So
and it's a grind, man. So you did good at taking some time for yourself. Like a lot of people don't think, they just stay head first right in the problem, and they don't realize like maybe just taking a step back and you'll be able to shoot yourself forward even further with like clearer sights. Because if you're just obsessed with everything, at some point you're just gonna hit a wall, and then you're gonna keep running to the wall, and nothing's gonna happen.
Before I get to the part of wrestling into everything else, like you mentioned this, so I'm gonna ask you a question because I'm like this. When you were wrestling, how much of your time did it consume you mentally, and obviously the physical part of weekends and all that stuff, but more on the mental side, like how much did it consume your life when you were a wrestler?
And I didn't realize it, but it's when I stopped and I went back to hockey. Like I didn't realize it, but I stopped. I even stopped. Like hockey was my first passion. Like I played hockey for all
Mm-hmm.
my life. Of course, my father dying kind of got me like a little blockage with hockey. But when I went all in with wrestling, I left hockey completely. I hadn't played in 3 years. I was if there was like maybe 2 or 3 days in the week where I didn't think wrestling or I didn't train wrestling or I didn't prepare something wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it was so time consuming. Like I was at work trying to deal with bookings and trying to get other stuff, and then you have to think about your matchup coming, and then you have to research your opponent a little bit to know what he does. I'm not saying like I'm making full research, but then I'm like, even when I wrestled you the first time, I watched a couple of your matches
Mm-hmm.
to know how you move or anything, which was so memorable with the "Come on, man."
It's the no, I completely agree because when I was removed from wrestling, so I went 3 years, COVID hit, everybody was done, and instead of being like everybody else and just waiting and complaining and still considering professional wrestling part of their lives, I just had the mindset of like, well, no one can do it now. It's non-existing for anybody. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to remove it completely from my life, and I'm going to just go back to enjoying it on TV as a fan and not a worker, and try to get out of that mindset. Took me a long time to kind of like, you know, uh, uh, get it out of my system, but then it became normal. And then I was like, holy shit, like I didn't realize how much mental energy I spent on every single day on the same thing you did, answering bookers. Not that I fucking was like, hey, like getting 25 requests per day, but
No,
what
no,
I'm
exactly.
saying
That's
is
not what
that,
I meant
right?
either. I'm like, I'm not
No, no,
dealing with
no.
25
But,
bookers, but
and I don't feel, no, sound like I'm complaining. It's just, and I'm like you, like, when right before the pandemic, and it's like this for a lot of wrestlers, so maybe they can relate, but like, I was wrestling every weekend, pretty much. A
almost.
minus one weekend every four, but like pretty much every Saturday and sometimes twice a week. And I'm very methodical to my, like, so when it's Thursday, I'm thinking about my match. I'm thinking
Exactly.
about my opponent. I'm thinking about the promotion I'm wrestling at. If there's a storyline, how can I advance it? How can I make it better? And I'm thinking. And then Friday, it's even worse. And then Saturday, forget about it. Saturday, I'm in the zone. I'm in persona. It's all day. It's like I'm a rock star.
Yeah,
My whole day is in preparations for those 15 minutes that I'm going to have that Saturday night. And
exactly.
then and then when it's all done, it's like all the energy is gone because I just emptied the whole tank.
Yeah,
And these last 3 days of this kind of angst energy buildup has completely left my body, and now I'm a wreck till about Monday, till I
exactly.
go back to work. I gotta deal with all these aches and bumps and all this shit, and then not to mention working out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, nonstop, just grind, 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 working out, working out. Man, when I took the break and then I went back to it in January, immediately it all came back. Now, I've grown a lot, I've changed a lot mentally, been able to get better at dealing with certain things in my life. So it's different now. I get to, but it's still a constant battle to say like, dude, like you don't have to worry about these things. Just you are who you are. people that want to book you, they'll book you. You know, I'm not taking all the booking requests. I'm being very selective. I don't want to overdo it. I'm 42, and I want to make sure that I'm not saying I want to do this for another 10 years, but for whatever long I do choose to do this, I want to make sure that I do it right and that I don't get injured, you know? So but I wanted to share it with you because I wanted to find out if it was similar, you know, if you felt the same way. Because most people that I ask, it's the same thing, right? We're like obsessed. You can't be an independent wrestler like we are and just be in it like part-time. It's such a quirky, intense business that it's like it deserves your full-blown attention almost all the time. And I know some people listen to this and they'll say like, oh, you overthink it. Yeah, I probably do, because that's what I am. That's who I am. I overthink everything. But again, it's like maybe that's what makes me who I am and I strive for greatness. I never do anything half-ass. It's like I'm all in, and I'll do everything possible to be the best possible. So
exactly.
Anyway, you're right. So
if you give me a second, I'll go turn on a light because like the light dimmed out.
Yeah.
Natural lighting was great at the beginning, but then it's not.
Go.
There we go. It's not as dark and gloomy as it was.
There you go.
So, as we were saying before, so like what happened was COVID hits. I take the same break you do. And then the FML started running other shows along with other camping spots. So I started doing spot works there. And then I went back to starting wrestling normally. But at the same time, I was getting... when the pandemic started hitting, I thought I had a blocked ear because I always felt like my left ear was always consistently blocked.
Really?
So I went to the doctor. I'm like, hey, get this. I think I got something clogged in my ear, so can you take it out? And then he looks. He's like, your ear's fine, buddy. So that's not it. So had to run tests and everything. And turns out I had it's a genetic condition, so it's not wrestling related. It's not an injury, but it's a stapedectomy. So basically, one of the bones in my ear calcifies itself, and then it has a trouble to move, and then I hear less and less and less and less and less.
Really?
So what I had to do was do all the tests, and then I had to go get the operation, which they put me under in August. Yeah, this August. So I went under the knife. They took my bone out and put a new bone in, and now I hear perfectly fine for my left ear. And of course, this is like from then, because the operation came after, because we had after COVID restarted, we had another stop at December. And then when we stopped in December again, I was like, you know what? I told myself when I started wrestling, I'm going to stop at 35. And I was like, I'm 36 now. So what do I have to gain to go there? And at the same time, I was watching the news and I'm like, WWE won't even hire anybody under 35. So I'm like, not that I wrestled only to go to WWE, but I was like,
yeah,
you know what? Not that it's not worth it, but I started playing hockey again. I was like, maybe I want to play hockey. So let's go all in with this hockey thing. And then at the same time, I'm getting the operation. So the huge recovery and prednisone is so hard to take.
Yeah, that's the medication you're on, or?
Yeah, so it's basically because they replaced the bone, so they got to give you some pretty strong cortisone to make sure your body doesn't really reject it. So basically a normal dosage of prednisone is like, high is considered 25 milligrams, and I was on 100 milligrams for 2 weeks.
Whoa!
Yeah. Even my sister, who's a pharmacist, was going crazy. She even called the doctors like, are you sure he needs that? Because that's like a horse's dose. Wow. But so as I was a wreck. I lost almost all my. I went back to 220 with that medication and everything because I couldn't train, I couldn't move. Because you don't realize it, but changing a bone in your body needs to reaccustom itself to a new bone. So I was tiptoeing. I was trying to walk. I was taking like short 15 minutes walk outside, and I would walk like a drunk guy. So my neighbors must have thought I had the most horrible way of life of being drunk at 11 a.m. but I
Oh
couldn't
my
walk straight for
God.
the life of me. And it all came back with the whole thing. And now the reason why it didn't really come back or anything is that, like, firstly, um, I don't want to knock. I don't want to have a knock on my ear that's gonna knock this bone out because I mean I can hear
It
again from my left ear. And for the longest time, some people like if you remember when we were training with Drew, he would repeat so much information to me because I kept not hearing him from one ear. And
So how long was that like noticeable for you that you were like something's off?
2 years,
Really?
2 years, and
Hey,
also with the
can I say
COVID.
something?
Yes, sir.
Can I say something? Do you have a light that's in front of you?
Yes.
Turn the light that's in the back. Can you turn the light that's
Oh yeah, for
off
sure.
in the back behind you? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's better like that. Yeah.
Should be better.
Yeah, it's better like that.
There we go.
2 years. You were 2 years where you were like, holy shit. And did it affect your balance when it was closing? Like when you were losing your hearing?
Not at all, because it was still my bone, so it's just like it's a calcification, so it's just basically like a matter just
Wow.
goes around my bone and makes it stop the move. It's just kind of like if you'd have the same type of thing that would happen with your knee and you can't bend your knee anymore, but that was
Yeah,
a bone in my
okay.
ear. So
And where did the other bone come from?
I have no clue. Like a lot of
Has to
people
be a
ask me this.
cadaver, right?
I I think it's I think it's synthetic, but technically I have
Oh, okay, okay,
I'm going to
okay,
see my
okay,
ear
okay.
doctor actually this week because of course it's a genetic condition, so it's starting to happen
Mhm.
with my right ear.
Oh
So I might have to
no.
go under the knife again next year or something like that. So that's
What?
another
How?
reason why I can't really commit to coming back to wrestling or anything because I'm
Of
like I'm going to be
course.
out anyways for a long time.
What? How much of a difference was it when you could hear? Like, was it like, oh my God, like I can't believe I went all these years without hearing like this?
Night and day.
Oh my.
My girlfriend could even say I didn't even know that my washer made noise. So like I started the washer and I looked at my girlfriend I was like, the washer makes this noise? Like, yeah, you didn't hear? I was like, I heard nothing. I thought it was silent. I'm like,
Oh
I
my
heard nothing. And I started
God.
just hearing a slight hum, and I was like, okay. And just to give like a something that people can relate to, like if I would watch Netflix on my TV, like normally when I before my operation, I would jack the volume up to 75, which goes to 100 on my TV,
Oh my God.
and I would still like sort of sometimes have to put it up to 80. And then since then, I'm like, I'm putting it at tops 45 because it just breaks my ear
Oh.
now.
That's insane though that we get accustomed to. Like you just got used to it, right? You're like, oh, well, that fucking ear can't. Yeah, it doesn't work well, so I'm just
Exactly,
like,
and I found like new ways of making people repeat without them getting pissed off or anything. Sometimes it didn't work. Obviously, you were trying
yeah.
to count sometimes with Drew. I was like, yeah, sorry, I just don't hear.
It's So you wrestle, you stop because of this, right? That's the main reason,
The
and
main reason
then
I had behind my head because I was like, it's
yeah,
useless. We're stopping now. I'm gonna have to stop again for the operation. Why bother go back right now? So
of
I'm like,
course,
listen, I'm just gonna do it, and I'll see how I feel after the operation. And then there's the whole like work also didn't. They were starting to ask me questions of about wrestling. So for people who don't know, I won't get too into many details, but I'm a police officer in real life. So
yes,
my work was starting to ask me questions like, oh, okay, so when do you wrestle or anything? What do you do? What's really wrestling? So I felt the pressure and anything, and then since the operation with the insurance and everything, I really didn't want to risk it. So it's like
of
it's not that I
course. Oh
can't wrestle
yeah,
anymore, but it's just like I feel there's a pressure and there's maybe a fear in there that I might lose a lot if I go back to wrestling.
and honestly, if you can't wrestle in fear, because
No.
then you're not gonna be as good, because
Yeah.
you're gonna be hesitant a lot of the time. Pro wrestling is a thing you have to do as free as possible, right? There's always a worry and stuff. You have to be safe, obviously, but like if you're constantly thinking like I can't do this because then it's gonna fuck me up, then the first thing that's gonna happen is exactly what's gonna happen, right?
And a big
So
part of my character was getting hit in the face. I knew I would sell anything getting hit in the face really well or getting chopped apparently. But
yeah,
with the
Mm.
super kicks and everything, I was really good at selling it, and now it's like I feel that if I have just that little fear, not being the getting close, is gonna completely
Yeah.
change what I was, and people won't even. Well, anyways, if I step on the ring, they won't recognize me because I'm so thin. But
You'd probably feel different getting a chop now that you have like 45 pounds less. You know what
yeah,
I
I'll
mean?
probably
It'd be
feel it
like,
more. I probably won't think it's as funny as it is.
Yeah. You'd be like, ah, oh,
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's what it's supposed to feel like.
Yeah. I haven't been chopped much since my return, but a few chops there. I haven't been wrestling. I wrestled Bjorn not a while back, a couple of weeks ago, so he got me good. But yeah,
You
it's
got me good at NCW that one time.
yeah.
Like that
Oh,
picture
dude,
keeps
I have that
popping up.
picture.
That picture
I-
keeps
I was
popping up
like,
every time when I see my
"Ooh."
chest being deformed everywhere. I'm like, yeah, he got me good on that one. Plus, I told you, it's like,
So
you have my full cooperation. I'm like, I'm gonna run into your chop. I'm not gonna put nothing. I'm gonna present into it, and then you just have at it.
man, those were the good times, man. I love wrestling you, and I love wrestling at NCW. That was fun. That
Dude,
was
it was so
fucking
good,
fun.
and like, especially even the first time we wrestled, like, yeah, you told me come on because I was slightly off-centered or anything, like I was facing the
Oh,
wrong
yeah.
way where you had to get me, and you got me. It's the only time you told me, and I was like, oh, okay, this is on. Okay, I like this guy. He's guiding me. So you're one of my favorite opponents. Like, it's insane.
Thanks, bro, man. Yeah, you too, man. It's like there's a few guys that I wrestled and I was looking forward to wrestle again. And I want some I did. I already gotten the opportunity to wrestle, and some not so much. And you were definitely one of those guys. It was easy to work with. The in ring work for me is easy with you and with a few guys, but it's also like the character, the attitude, the promo possibilities. Like for me, the biggest thing right now is like the promo possibilities. Like if I can get into a feud or into a match that with someone that I can make these crazy ass promos and be like back and forth, like I'm doing right now with Shane Pinto, the manager.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. That's why I love wrestling you guys with Dawson and you and Team Tight. It was just like, I can't wait. I have all these ideas for promos and let's do it. That was a blast. That made wrestling like really fun for me, you know?
And I loved it because like we had such a like opposite style. Well, not style, but we had such an opposite characters because
Mm-hmm.
Savage Stefan Paulson is so serious. And he's the most intense thing, and the fans are all up in it, and they love how intense you are. And
Yeah.
then you have me coming up, which I'm zero serious in whatever I do. Like I can be. I mean, I'm serious when I wrestle, but like if you'd see me, for people who haven't seen me wrestle, go check out one of my matches. You'll totally understand.
Yeah.
It's like I come in, I look like a beast, and then I'm acting like all.
Fruity.
I don't know. Can I say
Let's
like
just put it
fruity?
that-
I don't
Yeah,
know how
let's
to say it.
put
It's like
fruity. You're right.
yeah,
You got to be careful. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And it's like, but the whole thing with Caden Rose is like, I willingly made myself be like, okay, I want to be the guy who doesn't know, gives those types of vibe. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
that was the magic with Caden, because I would talk and I would be blissfully unaware that I gave off these vibes or anything. Like, walking around with a crop top and be like, yeah, this is totally normal.
I loved your character because it was just I don't know. It was completely, not that it was completely different. That's the thing people don't understand. And I'm not saying you're fruity, but there was a lot of you in the character. You would just like really found this niche, this little thing that really like blew it up because you were imposing. And when you were in the ring, the way you wrestled like a big, strong brute, but your character outside, all in between the moves and all in between the beatings and on promos and stuff, it was completely good. I fucking loved it. I agree with your decision to not wrestle anymore, but I would easily welcome you back into the ring. I'd be like, yeah, man, it's like I'm sad, but at the same time, like again, I completely understand and respect your decision, you know. So.
And it's sad for me too, because at the end I started developing as a face too, which is like I didn't think it was possible.
That's
But I was
true,
becoming
yeah, right.
slowly a face at FML. Like people were really getting on board with me, and I had no clue what happened. I knew like
It's organic.
yeah, that's it. And Drew was telling me, he's like, sometimes you're going to be a bad guy, and sometimes it's going to turn on you, and then you won't be able to be a bad guy anymore. And like at FML, it was exactly it. Like I worked, COVID hit, and I went back to make like the camping spot shows, and at the camping, Well, let's just say that les matantes au camping, ils tripaient.
Les petites matantes au camping.
Especially like,
Woo!
cause that I'm so sad I didn't get to wear that piece of gear that I did, but I had like in the end I had like leopard super small trunks, like
Oh.
leopard bedazzled too with pink and purple.
Oh, yeah.
Like
That's
I still got them
suits
downstairs.
Caden.
I tried them on in front of my girlfriend. She was laughing her ass off because I still fit in most of them. So
You know what's funny? I have old gear I found the other day. Like, I couldn't wear it. Couldn't wear it. It's way too big. I was
oh,
like,
so you mean
fuck, that's
your purple one?
purple, my green ones, my old orange ones. Yeah, I had to order like now I wear like these like small black tights and it's like they're like slim fitting, so they're like a bit of spandex obviously, but even the other ones like they were like I have my orange ones like even if I put them on right now it looked like shit. Like it
Yeah,
would
but
just
that
like
fits
be
your character
floppy.
too. I mean, you can totally get away with like black trunks, and I saw you were wearing like shorter. You stopped wearing your kick pads.
Yeah, no more kick pads, no knee pads either. Just
Yeah,
boots and trunks.
yeah,
People are
it's.
loving the new look. Yeah.
I love it too because it gives, and
Yeah.
you have this intensity that fits like almost with a like a Minoru. Oh, I forgot his last name.
Suzuki.
There you go, Minoru Suzuki.
Suzuki, yeah,
So
yeah,
it gives
yeah.
off the same vibe, and your character can totally get away with like the Quebec version. It's not even the Quebec version, but it's the Stefan Paulson version of that
Yeah.
guy, and it's amazing.
I just wanted to look more like a shoot wrestler, like just like badass. And I tried it once and I just saw myself in the mirror and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I remember the first time I tried it was at the torture show and Drew was like, you're not wearing knee pads? And I'm like, no, I'm trying this new. Like, he's like, oof. Like, I really think you should wear knee pads. I'm like, no, I really think I shouldn't. He's like, all right, all right. I said, I just like the better look. And then I came back after my match. He's like, you know what? Yeah, you look good without the knee pads.
Yeah.
It's like it suits you. So yeah, it's yeah, it is what it is. I'm happy to be back and I'm happy to just like, just try to carve my way back up and then just try to make a name for myself again, So let's see where it takes us. I'm getting some great opportunities. I was at Victory Ring this past weekend for the first time.
It's a great place to work there, man. I was. You were there when they were. I was over there. They really hated my guts, like
So
with
over.
Mr. Hello Kitty and everything.
Oh
So
my
that's the
God.
only place they would yell Hello Kitty at me. And
I love
such great souvenirs. Even that fan,
work.
a fan bought or rented a Hello Kitty suit just to taunt me in the crowd.
No way. For real?
Yeah, I'm
Oh
pretty
my
sure,
God.
because I close my Instagram, so I don't have access to. Sometimes I try to sharing stuff on Facebook because I see it, but nobody else can
Yeah,
see it.
yeah, yeah.
But if I find it again, I'll show you. Like even the guys, because
Oh,
they
yeah,
saw
yeah.
him dressed as a Hello Kitty, they brought him backstage and had him come out at the end of my match
Oh.
to come and taunt me. And I was like, this guy hates me so much that he dressed up as Hello Kitty to taunt me. That's just freaking amazing. I'm like, you know what?
Hey,
If I'm not over, I'm over here.
yeah, that's it. That's it. I loved wrestling there. I loved it before the pandemic, and I'm glad to be back. There was a great experience even this weekend. It was just like every time I'm there, the people that are there, the promoters, they're all great. The fans are always. It's a great ambiance, and I just enjoy. I don't enjoy the ride, the 3 hours. It sucks a little bit, but honestly, like. It's not like I'm doing it every weekend like I was doing it before,
Yeah.
It's like so I can take the occasional booking out of town. I don't mind, I'm wrestling there. I'm wrestling in Ottawa too. And the rest is here in Montreal. So it's like whatever. Once a month if I had to travel for 3 hours, I'm fine with it. So
What killed me for Victor Ring was just like, it's not even the drive. It was undoing the ring, loading the truck, driving 3 hours, unloading the ring, setting up the ring, wrestling, setting off the ring, put it back in the truck, drive, set up the ring at the torture chamber, and then get home. It was like
5 in the morning.
On a good weekend, it was like 5 in the morning. But most
Yeah.
weekend it was like 6:30. I would get home. I'm like, well, listen, my day's ruined.
Dude, yeah, I rode with 3 guys this Saturday, and we left around 11:30. We helped we undid the ring, packed it in the truck, and then we left. And for some reason, my GPS fucked. I don't know what happened. It told me it didn't tell me to take. It's like it's like I wasn't getting good reception, so it wasn't like reset. I don't know what happened, dude. It added like had us go like through like, oh my god, I don't know where it took us.
They made you take like the long way out, like the freaking back roads.
Oh my god, I was afraid.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, what the fuck? It added like 30 minutes. I was just like,
dude, my GPS did that once, and it was mainly I blamed Victor for it. We spoke about it. It's okay, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna laugh at that one because Victor had to go pee, and then I was like, no, we're not stopping unless I have an exit. I see an exit, and then Drew talked to me. He's like, listen, you gotta stop. So like, I take an exit. I don't know where it is. It made me take such a long way. I was like, where the fuck are we right now?
It was like, I don't know what happened. It was so weird. Like I was like, there was a point in the GPS where it was actually having me like turn around, like not turn around, like turn and go back in the same direction. Like we were on like a somewhat of a main road, and it would have me go around, take a left, then go around the block, and then go back around the block, and then go back around the block, and it would just circle me around the block. I had to like force it. I'm like, I'm just going to keep going this way. And then it rerouted, and it said, Bernadette, and then it added like 30 minutes. I was like, oh, fuck. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. Dude, and it was like dark, no lights, no street lights. It's farmland everywhere. I was like, yo, I thank God I wasn't alone. So I thank God I had I had some guys with me. But fuck, man. It was... It's good old wrestling. Got back in town. It was like 3:30. I was like, oh, I'm fucking dead. I had to get up early next morning. My son had some baseball. Like, just there's no. I was like, there's no rest for me. Not this weekend.
No rest for the wicked, but we always gotta keep going.
Oh my god.
It's just like me with my days right now. Sometimes I get like, because well, not right now because now the season's over. But there was times where because I'm the backup goalie for the Montreal Canadiens home game. Emergency backup goalie, not the backup goalie sitting on the bench. But sometimes, man, they call me at like 5:30. It's like, oh, the guy just canceled. Can you make it? I'm like, well, the game's at 7:30. I was playing a hockey game and just off my game. It's like, okay, I'll rush to it, and I need to get over there, and then. Man,
so tell me how that works, because we all saw you as the backup goalie for the Panthers a few months ago, and so you are the emergency goalie for every home game here in Montreal?
Basically, yeah. I did 24, 23 games about. I didn't really keep precise count, but I did more than half the games, the home games. Basically, how I ended up doing this is that before I was wrestling, I was testing gear for CCM because I was always playing like 5, 6, 7 times a week because I can't do something halfway. I have to do it all the way or else it doesn't work for me.
Yeah, of course.
So testing for CCM, my guy became the coach at Concordia, and then I started helping him out for some practice and stuff like that. And then the Montreal Canadiens switched. They fired Marc Bergevin, and then they hired Kent Hughes. And Kent Hughes and his people that are around him have ties with Concordia, so they started calling the Concordia goalies to be the backup goalies there. And then my contact from CCM knows me, and then when his goalies couldn't, he would call me to start going there. And then at some point I was available because the first time I got there, I got the call at 6:15 for a 7 o'clock game, and I made it at 7 o'clock at the Bell Center. So since then, he knew that I was like willing to do almost anything to get there, so I started being the first one to be called. And then I just showing up, and then in my head, I'm like, it happened like, 3-4 times that the backup goalie had to get on the ice. I was like, it's okay, I get free season tickets, basically, and a free parking. But comes that January with the Panthers, the game starts, and 2 minutes 17 in, I see the Panthers goalie Sergei Bobrovsky gets his hip caught on a post, and I'm like, he's limping, and then he goes to the room like, uh-oh. Okay, time to go get dressed downstairs. So I rush downstairs. As I get downstairs in the elevator, I get a phone call from the John Sedgwick. He's executive from the Montreal Canadiens saying like, hello, the Panthers are expecting you, so go get dressed. Show up there, and then you got to remember, for I'll bring a wrestling equivalent. It's kind of like if you're just following WWE, and for the Raw shows and the pay-per-views, and then you have Vengeance at some point, the pay-per-view Vengeance, and someone gets hurt warming up, and they turn at you and like, hey, Stefan, you got to be ready. So get dressed. You might be on TV in a few moments if something else happens. So then you're just gonna be standby with your gear on, getting ready. Maybe it's gonna be your primetime debut on TV, and then you have to face all those thoughts that are in your mind, because it's something that we've been dreaming of like since we're kids, right? And
Of
to me, it was
course.
like I wanted to be Patrick Roy. Of course, I was wearing the Panthers uniform, but
Yeah, of
when I was a kid,
course.
I was all about Patrick Roy. There's nothing else I wanted to be, and then I'm about to realize my dream, and it was completely insane. I still
So
talk to the
you've
guys from the
did
Panthers.
for real? Okay,
Oh
so
yeah, yeah,
wait. So you did this about 25 times this season?
yeah.
But you only got the call once.
Twice this year. Actually, no, 3 times.
Twice?
No, 3 times.
So
It
what
wasn't.
happens? You get dressed and then you sit on the bench?
I get dressed, and then there's all sorts of rules that go with the I was gonna say WWE, with the NHL. So basically, when I do this, because it's unplanned following an injury, I don't sign a contract quite yet. So they give me the shirt, I get dressed, I sit in the trainer's room or the coach's room, and I watch
Mhm.
the game in case they need me. If I want to sit next to the rink, then I need to sign a contract. And if I sign the contract, they need to pay me. Which obviously I don't blame them, because I'd be like,
Of course.
it's not free money for them. I know they make a lot of money, but people don't realize. But they're not gonna start just giving away money just for fun. So
Yeah, yeah. When you can just sit in the coach room and if the backup, so if the backup gets hurt, not then you go in the game.
yeah, they put a piece of paper in my face, I sign it, and then I go on the ice. I don't even know what the amount is that they would give me for that one game. I've heard so many conflicting stories. Like some people told me, "Oh yeah, it's 5,000. Oh no, it's 7,000." And some people are like, "No, it's just gonna give you 500 bucks." I'm like, I don't care. I would pay
My
500 for a game like
God.
that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, pay me, but like, I just want to put my face on TV. Like, fuck it. Like,
Oh yeah, it was
what?
insane. And
Like the. Oh my god! Like, from just being in the crowd to oh shit, I gotta go get dressed. Like,
yeah,
oh my god, I can only imagine. Like, I know. Like, look, I've never been. Hockey's never been my thing. I played when I was young, but I've never really wanted to be a hockey player. So I can imagine for you, someone that dreamt to be Patrick Roy when he was young, and then all of a sudden you're wearing a fucking NHL jersey, and you're like one injury away from getting in goal and facing shots. Like, what the fuck, bro?
dude, you
Like,
don't even know
good
how many
job.
like stuff happened at the same time too. Because then they give me my jersey. I didn't get to ask for a number or anything. And I mentioned my father died a couple of years ago, and my father would always wear number 50 somehow, because he couldn't get 20, because he wanted to wear number 20 because his favorite goalie was Vladislav Tretiak,
Okay.
and then he was wearing 50 for some odd reason, and then they gave me the shirt, I flip it around, and it was freaking number 50 they gave me.
No.
So I was like, okay,
Bro, I
there's
got
nothing.
goosebumps. I got
I know.
fucking
I
goosebumps,
had
bro.
goosebumps at that moment. I was like, because I don't believe. Not that I don't believe. Not believing is not true. I'm a very high skeptic of all these types of things. Of like
Yeah,
people
of
saying like,
course.
"Oh
I
yeah,
am the two.
it's your father that sends you sign from the other side." But at that point, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta believe that this one's a sign, because there's no way. 'Cause,
Maybe this one, yeah.
like this one, I kind of think my father has a hand in there. So I don't know what it is, but. So yeah, it was insane, man. I was
Bro.
holding back tears too, because I mean, I have the trainer that gave me the shirt, and then he's waiting for me to put it on, and I'm like almost tearing. I'm like, oh, I can't start crying in front of this guy. He doesn't even know me. He's like, can't see me
Like,
start to
what's
cry
up
as
with
I
this
put on the
dude?
shirt.
They might go, okay, now, you know what? We'll call someone else. Just fucking
Yeah, they'd be like,
just leave.
they might be like, yeah, keep him in the game. Keep him in the game. He's not in.
Oh my god.
So
That's crazy, bro. Oh my god. Did you at any point dress for the Montreal Canadiens?
nope, never. So what I did the Ottawa game, because I think Talbot got injured, but it was in the third period, so they didn't dress me. And then I did it for the Columbus Blue Jackets again when Merzinkas got injured, and then that one I was dressed and I was in the back room again.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Panthers was the first one, right? Was that the first
Yeah,
one?
the Panthers was the first one, and it was the first time that a e-bug in Montreal was getting dressed.
Really?
Never happened before. Yeah.
Wow. Of all the years of hockey, that's the first time.
Yeah, it was the first time that a backup goalie was getting dressed in Montreal. At least that's what the employees and the people that were around were telling me. So
Yeah, it's not something that you see a lot. Like once in a while you'll see like, oh, the emergency goalie went into the game, and then it's a big story for like a day or two, and then da da da. So when I heard your story and I saw it on social media and I saw all that, I was like, number one, I'm like, I know that motherfucker, so I'm like so happy for him, and I knew how much hockey meant to you, and I knew a bit of your, of your passion for the sport. So I was just like, oh my god, that's amazing. So when I saw the pictures and all the interviews and all that stuff, man, I was like, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy you had to experience that. And I'm happy that you're back doing something that you love so much, you know?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm so comfortable where I'm at right now. I wouldn't really want to change anything. Like this weekend, I'm going for a tournament in Trois-Rivières, so I'm back in contact with the AAA teams of the police. So it's like a tournament that we have every year for Sûreté du Québec. So it's police force
Oh,
from all
okay.
over the Quebec, and the AAA team is the highest level. So I got back in contact with them. It had been a while that because when I dropped out of hockey, I kind of left them out like out the dry. Then they
Mm-hmm.
took me back as I came back. So there's so much
That's
good
awesome.
positive things that go in just with like a proper attitude. It's basically what I tell most people. It's like have the good attitude. Don't quit your dreams, and good things will end up happening at some point. Maybe not, but if you quit, it'll never happen.
Yeah, it's a definite that you won't reach your dream. Like, that's one thing I tell my kids and I tell a lot of people that's like, just do it. Just keep fucking doing it. Like, chances, yeah, there's a chance it'll never happen, but
Definitely.
there's definitely 100% chance it won't happen if you quit. So why, I just, if especially when you find something you're so passionate about, and where it's like even like it's, and this is one thing that I've changed through like the last few years of like quote unquote soul searching. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, but that's what's come to mind right now. I is that I don't focus on any goals anymore. I have goals, but I focus on the journey, which is
Yeah.
day to day, get better, every day get better, do the work, figure out the steps, apply yourself, get better, slowly just get better. Every
Oh yeah.
single day you get better, and then one day you realize you're like, god damn, like the thing that I always tell people is that it's important sometimes to kind of stop and look back to all the accomplishment, because people like us sometimes that are driven to do things that are not like your norm of day to day, like go to college, get a job, and then live your life and die. Like, well, I'm
Yeah.
like, become a professional wrestler, become a martial artist, become a fucking MMA fighter, and then doing all this crazy shit. And then I realized that sometimes I'm like, boom, I've never looked back. So I took some time sometimes to go like that's pretty fucking amazing that the 7-year-old me fell in love with pro wrestling, said that one day, dreamt about becoming a pro wrestler, never thought it was a possibility, because who fucking achieves these big ass dreams, right? And
No.
then one day I'm like, I'm a fucking independent wrestler with chances of like one day maybe making it, on TV where my friends and family can watch me wrestle in front of thousands of people. Like, it's just like, it blows my mind, brother. And again, I'm so happy that your journey has gotten you to where it is right now. It's like, I'm so happy that you've made things work throughout all those, like, throughout COVID and throughout all the bullshit. I'm really fucking happy for you, bro.
Oh man, thank you, and I'm really happy that you were able to go back because I knew how driven you were, and when I saw that you didn't come back right away after COVID, I was like, fuck, man. Stefan loved it, but I understood you were going through some stuff and you had some stuff to work through, and I also saw that you
Mm-hmm.
seemed to be so driven into running and everything. I was like, you know what? He's doing his thing, and it almost made me feel okay with my decision of going like, you know what? I can do the same thing. I can go back to hockey. And it made me look back at my wrestling career. I'm like, you know what? I'm actually happy, even though it was short and sweet. I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy I made it. I'm happy I did something that, like, as a kid, I always told myself, like, oh yeah, I could be a great wrestler, and I did it. So,
Yeah, of course. I think that the thing that I realized was that all the effort and the work that I put behind becoming a professional wrestler, all the work, it's not just the work, it's also the overcoming the fears of like signing up to a professional wrestling school and actually believing that I was doing this for a purpose.
Yeah.
You know, like I never show this is not who I am. Maybe some people are like this, but I remember when I showed up at Torture Chamber, the goal was to become a professional wrestler. It wasn't like I'm just going to come and train and just be here and have fun and train and never get in the ring.
Oh,
or
yeah,
not
sure.
even, or not. It was like, I told my wife, she thought I was fucking crazy. But like everything that I've done in the past, from my martial arts, fighting and all that stuff, she supported me. I told her, give me a year and let me see where it takes me. She's like, all right, go do you. She's like, I'm never going to stop you. She's like, I'm going to roll my eyes and da-da-da. And she's the biggest wrestling fan now. And, the kids, obviously my son and my daughter, they enjoy it so much.
Man,
but
they were amazing. I have so many memories of your kids, man. I love them with a passion. It was so amazing. I'll be right back. I got to go to the bathroom because you saw my gallon of water.
yeah, but you know what, man? I normally keep these to an hour, and we've been doing it for an hour. So,
oh shit, okay.
Yeah. Because I don't want to go longer. So, but I'll invite you again, and we'll keep the conversation going. So,
dude,
I'll fill some gap.
I'm totally willing. We can hit so many subjects with you because, like,
I know.
I mean, we spoke so much backstage. We have so much to say, and we can go so in depth with so many subjects. So it's insane.
I think, I try to keep them at an hour because the attention span of most people don't go further than an hour. And so I try to keep it. And it gives me an opportunity to invite people back again to the show so we can have more and more conversation. Instead of making them like 3 hours, it's keeps them fresh. Brother, again, I love you, brother, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for your journey. I'm so happy for what happened with the hockey and with your professional wrestling career. I'm happy to hear that your health is doing a lot better and that everything is coming together for you, man. The next time I see you, hopefully it's going to be, it's not going to be fucking 3 years before I see you.
No.
So,
we're definitely going to complete our podcast, and we're definitely, I'm probably going to have to show up the wrestling show again because I haven't been the one since I retired.
Awesome, brother. Well, it was nice talking to you. It was nice catching up, man. And again, man, thanks a lot for doing this and coming on my show.
Dude,
anytime. All right, bro.
All right.
I'll talk to you soon then. Cheers, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, brother.
All right,
bye.
Bye-bye.